Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're going to get started now. This is our event today is called Esports in Korea, a conversation with UCI legend, Youngbin Chung.
I guess that's
before we get started, I just want to thank a couple of people who helped put this together. First of all, Katie Bell from Global Engagements, Juhoon Sin from CCKS, and Mark Deputy from UCI Esports. So thank you very much for. I also want to thank Consul Juwon Yoon, who's here, and Consul Lee from the Consul General of Korea's office, who's also co-sponsoring this event. And I've actually been very interested in esports. So there perhaps will be more programming in the future in partnership with the Consul General's office. So just want to say a little bit about the event. As many of you know, Korea has become a key player. Oh, I should introduce myself. My name is Joseph Chung. I'm the director of the Center for Critical Korean Studies here at UCI. And I guess that's the way. I'm here on the panel as somebody that knows almost nothing about esports. And so I told Changbin earlier, please explain everything as if you're talking to a moron so that I can understand it. Mm-hmm. So as many of you know, Korea has become a key player in the global emergence of esports. Korean teams players are among the best in the world, and there's a huge audience for esports in Korea. And as many of you also know, many of you are on the team, I understand, that UCI has one of the highest profile esports programs in the country and in North America. And esports has become an important part of campus life here at UCI. You can see behind us, of course, for those of you watching online, we have a kind of amazing, this is the esports arena, and students can come and play games in these sort of PC bang area behind us. So in partnership with Office of Global Engagements, the Center for Critical Korean Studies and UCI Esports, we put this event together today to think through the relationship between Korean esports through the eyes of somebody that knows it pretty well, particularly here at UCI. So let me just first introduce the panelists. First and foremost, we're really happy to welcome back to campus today UCI alum Youngbin Chung. Youngbin is an ex-professional League of Legends player, actor, and streamer. After trying for several years to become a League Championship Series player in Team Liquid Academy, one of the best North American esports teams, he moved on to UCI Esports, where he pursued a bachelor's degree while playing in competitive matches. After several months in the collegiate league, he got picked up by Team Liquid and became a starter for TL. A few months later, he returned to UCI Esports, where he won the 2018 Collegiate Championship Series. And shortly after, and this is his current venture, he was cast into Players, which is a TV show produced by Paramount Plus and CBS, which is coming out soon, shortly.
Yeah, somewhere in June.
Okay. And then to my right, Mark Deputy, who's, as I said, Mark led the effort to create the award-winning esports program here at UCI, working closely with student leaders, administrators, faculty, and industry partners. Mark built a business plan that broadly approaches the world of esports through the 5 pillars of competition, research, community, entertainment, and careers. Mark was selected to serve as the inaugural commissioner of the North American Scholastic Esports Federation. And in June of 2018, UCI's League of Legends team won the College League of Legends Championship. In October of 2018, UCI Esports program was awarded Most Outstanding Collegiate Program by the esports industry at the Tempest Awards. And while at UCI, Mark has coordinated many campus traditions, including the helping break the Guinness Book of World Records. So he has a BS in psychobiology from UCLA and an MBA from Cal State Fullerton's College of Business and Economics. So we're kind of divided the program in two today. We're going to talk a little bit first about with Youngbin about his life and experiences, a little bit about Korea and esports, and a little bit about the show, and then we're going to kind of turn it over to Mark, and we're going to do a little bit of game analysis and sort of get into the weeds. So I guess the first very softball question is just tell me about your childhood. Like, how did you what was it? Where did you grow up, and how did you find yourself into gaming?
Well, when I was really young, I went to kindergarten in UK. right? And I think that's where I picked up most of my English in the early stage. And after kindergarten, I went back to Korea. So I lived in a lot of cities in Korea. One is Gwangju, Chuncheon, and at the end, I was living in Seoul, which is the main city, I guess. And starting my freshman of high school, I immigrated back into US. And since then, I've been playing League of Legends, a lot of gaming. And because it was really hard in the beginning to catch up the language and all the cultures, I think gaming was one of the tools that I used to get familiarize myself with the American culture and all that. And since then, I've been just playing a lot of gaming. At one point, I got really good at the game, so I told myself that I would pursue the career.
When did you realize that you were good enough? I mean, that when you said you're playing at home and you're
That's a
like
tricky
playing with your
question.
friends, and when did you realize that
Well, I mean-
oh, I'm actually really good at this?
I think it was when so there is a terminology called placement matches, right? So when you get into the ranked game of it, so there's a normal game and a ranked game, right?
Mhm.
So when you start playing the ranked game, the first 10 matches is a placement match.
Mhm.
So depends on how you win, how well you do, you will get placed into whatever rank there is, right? And I had 90% of win rate in those games. So out of 10 games, I won 9 games.
And how old were you when this
I
happened?
was 15,
Okay,
16.
Okay.
And a lot of my friends who play those placement matches, they don't really do well. Some do like 40% win rate, some does
Okay.
like 50%. I got 90% win rate, and that's why I was like, maybe I'm good at this.
Mhm.
And ever since then, I was in the highest elo in the game, highest rank in the game.
So you start playing these matches, and you realize you're pretty good at. At what point did it cross your mind? Oh, I could do this sort of professionally, or do this as more than just like a.
I think I
hobby
would
or
have
something.
to explain a little bit about the esport background, right? Because in Korea, there was a game called StarCraft,
Mhm.
and StarCraft was one of the most popular game back in Korea, back in like 2000 era, right? And I always grew up watching those games, watching the professional competitive games, and I knew that gaming could be one of the sport, right? And when I was playing, when I was 15, 16, when I was playing this game, I noticed that I saw that there has been a lot of war games, like the professional league was already there, like LCS, LCK was already there. So I knew that professional scene is already there.
Mhm.
And once I start climbing the rank, and then I start playing the team rank and climbing up, eventually I knew that I could be going towards it.
So if I'm getting the chronology right from your bio, you started playing in Korea, and then you came to UCI, and then playing here.
Well, I was playing in Korea, but a different game. I
Okay.
wasn't playing League of Legends back when I was in Korea.
Can you just there's a lot of UCI students here. Can you reflect on your time here at UCI? What your experience is like here, and what was it like playing here for
Yeah.
the esports team? Do you hate Mark?
Yes and no.
I'm just
No,
kidding.
I
That was a
love
joke.
him. I love him. I
Joke,
love
joke,
him.
joke,
I love
joke,
him.
joke, joke.
I think Mark has told me a lot throughout the years, and I think Mark can relate to this. Where I was my freshman year, I was pretty much I'm not gonna say bully, but in some way I might have been a bully. But it was only because I wanted to win, and from the perspective of an ex professional player, um, I noticed that I had to elevate the everyone performance in the team for us to win collegiate, right?
Mhm.
And in the beginning, because I've been coming from a background who was an ex-pro, and in a professional scene, it's not really supportive in terms of emotional, right? Because everyone is for the result. Everyone is there to show the best performance. So when someone is lacking performance, like they don't really have a support system to boost them up, right?
Mhm.
It's just saying, "Oh, you mess up there, you mess up there, just get better at it," right? It's not like, "What's going on in your life? Why are you struggling? Why can't you focus in the game?" There's no kind of support like that,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I'm coming from that kind of background, and the first several years I've been pretty much doing the same thing that I learned from the professional scene, where I just go like, oh, you messed up here, you got to get better at it. Oh, you got to play more. Like I know school is important for you, but you also says that your goal is to win collegiate, and for you to win collegiate, just got to play more, like work harder. And I think the best quote that I said in one of the documentary is that your what is it? I forgot the exact quote. Do you know, Mark? Do you remember?
Something to the fact of, I don't tell them straight up they're bad,
Yeah.
but their hard work is not enough.
Yeah, yeah.
That
And
was in the trailer. of
yeah,
the
I think
documentary.
that quote really shows my perspective about like what I was doing in the early stage.
So this is good. This is good. This is a place where I'll assume like the position of this somebody just doesn't know. I mean, actually, I'm interested in teamwork and teamwork and how important that is in esports. And I see you guys with the microphones, and I see you talking to each other. And can you say a little bit about teamwork and how that works and why it's important and how you foster that?
So I think esport in like games like League of Legends is really more the teamwork is more important, right? I think in traditional sports, if you have a star player, then there's a high chance that that star player alone can carry the game, right? Like LeBron James can just carry the Lakers and something like that, right? Well, I mean, not
Sorry.
Not
I'm a
2022.
Warriors
yeah,
fan,
yeah,
so
but just as a reference, Michael Jordan, okay.
Okay.
But league is, I think, it could be in some extent that you can say the similar term where a star player can carry the game. But at the same time, what I noticed when I was throughout the years in UCI that league is a game where you really have to, all the members have to perform well. Like not because you have star player, there is a high chance you're gonna win. Yeah, obviously you have higher chance to win if you have a good player. But at the end, everyone has to pick up their own work in order to win. So in that term, teamwork is really important.
So I want to talk a little bit about esports scene in Korea. Can you just tell us about the scene in esports in Korea and what it's like?
For the league or just in general?
Just
the
in
industry?
general, or if there's particular things that you want to sort of select out of that.
One thing. Well, I've been out of the gaming scene for quite a lot ever since I graduated, which was like last year. So it might have changed, but based on my experience, the way the general public view the gaming industry is sort of different between Korea and America, right? In Korea, I think because there was StarCraft back in the days, and since like 20 years ago, it was 20 years ago. So the infrastructure, the gaming industry was already been there for quite a while. So now I think the culture has already absorbed within the general public, and there's a lot of respect towards the professional gamers, right? It even showed that kind of respect is even showing in the games, solo queue games that people play. When a professional gamer is in one of your game, then you show a lot of respect to them, and then you try to follow their calls and try to play around them or something like that, right? And when he's messing up and he's not like really performing well in the solo queue game, the professional gamer, then they don't really like run at it, right? He's just having a bad game or something like that. But in compared to that, in NA, I think gaming is not really one of the main sport yet, right? I think it's been gaining a lot of popularity, but I think there are some lacking in terms of culture and like the perception of it, and I think that's the main difference between it. And yeah.
So Mark has actually used the term when I've spoken about this, that the term gold standard, that Korean gamers are kind of the gold standard globally. Why do you think that is the case? Why are Korean gamers so good?
I think one of the reasons is because the infrastructure was already been there for 20 years, right? And in Korea, there is a really good youth system called PC Bang, right? Every time you're out of school, since you're like elementary, you go to PC Bang to just hang out. Like otherwise in NA, like in America, they probably go basketball or play something, together at someone's house or party or something. But in Korea, it's really common to see people after school, they go to PC Bang or go to karaoke or go do something like that.
Mhm.
And because the professional players are viewed with much more respect, there's a lot of young kids who are trying to go pro since they are young, since they are like in like 10 years old or something.
Mhm.
So I think the infrastructure is the one that really makes the difference.
How feasible is that? I mean, I've heard a lot of Korean young people say like, "Oh, I want to be a professional gamer," and sometimes I hear that and I think like it's like in Hollywood that people say it like, "Oh, what I really want to do is direct." You know, like is it how likely is it? Is it a real? Is it like a thing you can kind of choose to do and be have a career, or is it just sort of like?
Well,
Is it
I will
really a
ask you
select
this.
few?
I will
Yeah.
ask you this. So, if your kid tells you that I'm going to be a doctor when he's like 5 years old, do you
Yeah.
think that's feasible goal or not?
I mean, I think it's somewhat.
Yeah,
It's
I think
somewhat,
my
right?
answer is pretty much similar.
Yeah.
It is feasible, right?
Mhm.
I think definitely working hard towards getting better at the game will get you at some point. But I think it really, I think it's similar case with other traditional sports.
Mhm.
You can only get to a certain level with working really hard. I think from there, what makes the true difference is the talent that you have.
I'm glad you brought up that word. Like, what does that mean I know what that means for like basketball,
Mhm.
right? And I know what that means for whatever football, like the guy's giant and super
Mhm,
strong. Like, what does
mhm.
it mean for esports to have talent?
To be 6 foot tall with really huge. um, I think, I think, I think to tell whether you have a talent in gaming or not,
Mhm.
it, I think one way to see whether you have a talent in gaming or not is to play various different competitive games and see where you get within a certain period of time.
Mhm.
For instance, I've seen a lot of the pro players, in fact, if they play a different game, let's say, I'm pretty sure you don't know about these games, but
I'm
Valorant,
quite sure, yeah.
yeah, Valorant, Overwatch, or League,
I know
or
Overwatch, yeah.
CS:GO,
Yeah,
or
I know some of
any
those.
of those games that has rank, right? A lot of the pro players can get to challenger level in various different games,
Mhm.
and I think that's just it has to do something with pattern recognizing, because
Oh, I
even
see.
though the mechanic will change, the graphic will change, like the way the objective will change, but there's certain things that really pierce through all the gaming,
Mhm.
all the games throughout. So if you're really good at one game and if you're not good at the other game, I really don't think that makes sense.
Like pattern recognition, like that's
Yeah, I see. It's really hard to explain it,
Yeah.
but there's uh like an awareness of the game flow, like where the enemy team is at, where your teammates at,
Mhm.
something like that. That kind of concept really pierced through the entire game. So I
Mhm.
think that kind of stuff is talent, and it could be achievable through working really hard, focusing and training.
Mhm.
But I'm not really sure. I haven't really thought deep about it.
I want to make sure to leave plenty of time for Mark. And I
No
realize,
way.
I'm sorry, Mark, that we're drifting into your territory, but I'm
Okay.
just so curious. Mark's looking down, it's like, oh, I was supposed to ask that
It's
question.
all good.
Uh, Tell us, so you're on this new show and on Paramount Plus called Players. And just so the audience is aware, Youngbin can only talk. They can't talk too much about the show, but I do want to sort of ask some questions about it, and then you tell me what you can tell, and then
Yeah.
avoid what you can't.
Okay.
But just can you tell us a little bit about the show, what it's about, just sort of introduce it for us
Oof.
to begin with?
I really shouldn't have signed that NDA.
Um,
So I think the public information about the show is that it's a show about this team in the professional league in the LCS, and it's a show about how the story behind the team until they win or until they um, pursue towards the winning championship.
Okay. So I won't ask too much more about the show, but maybe maybe I could ask you about the experience of it rather than the show itself. So you're an actor now. This is so this is not.
I can say
it's
that
a
for now,
mockumentary.
yeah.
So it's not like a documentary about gamers.
Mhm.
It's a show. It's a drama show, a mockumentary made by the creators of American Vandal. I can say that, right?
American Vandal on Netflix, yeah.
And so you're an actor now. Like gamer
Mhm.
from gamer to actor. Like, what has that transition been like, and what do you can you tell us
Well, I
about
mean,
your
it was
life
really
now?
surprised in the beginning that I was casted because of, you know, I don't really think my face is suitable for acting. So being on the set was really enjoyable. I think when I was really young, once had a dream of becoming an actor. I think maybe some of the people have that kind of dream because it's really shiny and that you get a lot of exposure from it and stuff like that. But as I said, like I don't think this is suitable. But um, it was really out of nowhere. So like the casting process was really out of nowhere. Where I was studying for becoming a financial expert. I was studying for CFA, which means for chartered financial analysis. And one day, agent that I knew back from my professional career, he one day just calls me out of nowhere. And then he's like, "Hey, Youngbin, what are you doing? There is a show coming up about this, and do you want to audition for it?" And I was just studying, so I was doing nothing. So I was like, "Well, it sounds fun. I'm gonna do it." And the director really liked the way I was doing it, and I think it has to do with the setup of the show, which was a mockumentary, right? So I was really already familiar with getting interviewed, and I have an experience with UCI doing the documentary, filming the documentary from ESPN called Good Game. So I was already familiarized myself with the system of how the documentary really sets up, and from there it was pretty natural.
I think at this point I don't want to monopolize the time, so let me turn it over to Mark.
Marcus keep looking at the watch. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
I know.
shoot.
I was like,
We're all good. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this because I obviously have experienced so much with Youngbin over the years. I'll just first start by saying, and I've said this to Youngbin before, but like I think he's one of our greatest success stories with our program. He talked about coming in and struggling to communicate, and it was really not understanding how much of an influence he had. Like his comments, like our teammates would feel it very deeply. Like if he critiqued them or every deep sigh in a game, like your teammate died again. My league players all know how that feels.
Yeah.
And so it took for many conversations over the years. And then, but I just want to say how proud we are of him for the growth he endured. And by the end, like he was not just our star player, but the leader and the undisputed captain and kind of like a coach in the game. So anyways, we're really proud of you and thankful for all you give in our program. So we've talked a lot about League of Legends. I'm willing to bet there are people either online or here who don't know what the game is. Can you describe the genre and describe what the objective and how the game is played, just briefly?
So the genre, I think officially is called MOBA. I don't know what it stands for. But
Multiplayer Online Battle Arena.
there you go. And the objective, so there's 5 team members in each side, and there's a red team and a blue team and a red team. And the objective is to destroy the enemy nexus. And I think that's the simplest way I can say it.
Perfect. So it's a 5v5 game. You're on a map and you work your way across the map, destroying neutral objectives, gaining resources, and defeating the other team. And when you've done enough of that, you're able to access their nexus and destroy
Maybe I should have asked you that question.
I was ready for it. So you're all good. So we're going to watch some clips in a little bit about some of Youngbin's plays.
Okay.
Not just yet. I'm preparing his mentally. But one thing I want to touch on, just to kind of tie this back to Korea and your experience, one thing I observed when you first came was when there was team discussion or disputes or what have you, I felt like the language barrier was a little bit of a challenge to describe how you were feeling or what you wanted from people. So in a game where communication is vital, can you discuss like how that is and maybe even broadly, like how language discrepancy. So teams nowadays have multiple languages on teams, and you don't really see that in U.S. sports, right? Everyone speaks English.
Yeah.
So maybe talk about your experience and then a little bit of how you see that in other teams and how that works.
Oh, there was a lot of questions, so I'm just gonna answer one by one.
Whatever you want.
Okay. So, first, language barriers, I think, is really one of the common thing that team struggles with, even in the LCS, because there's a lot of Korean imports, and they don't really speak that much fluent English.
Chinese imports.
Yeah, and Chinese import too, and a whole bunch of imports.
Yeah.
But wow, I don't know where to tackle from. Can you remind me the question again?
I was just asking about your personal experience at UCI. Like, describe when you're in conflict with someone,
Yeah.
and you want to describe a nuanced feeling or something. Sometimes you didn't have the vocabulary.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay.
So yeah. So I think it also has to do with my background of being Korean and coming from a professional scene.
Mhm.
Is that when I was talking with my teammates in universities, I was always straightforward into it, right?
Mhm.
When I'm trying to discuss about some play or some concept about the game, I'll be just straight up tell them, we should have done this because there's reasons of us to do this one specific play instead of the play that you did, right? And obviously the way I was directing is really straightforward, so it was I think a lot of people really got hurt, became personal about it, and I had no desire of being personal. It was all about just getting better at the game, right? But I think once the conversation, once the person becomes or take those critiques personally, then it's really hard to be productive within the conversation, right? Because every time I talk about a better play to do or a better way to communication or get better at the game, whatever that is, it doesn't go through their brain. They don't take it in because they get hurt. And Mark and I had a lot of conversation about that throughout the years, and now I think throughout the years I learned how to talk about those matter without really making it personal, I guess, or making it sound like it's personal.
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe the league player will say it a different way, but at least I'm trying.
I think that's perfect, and I totally agree. And I when I first started learning about esports, and I was not an expert when we first started this, still probably not an expert at this, but I came to believe like that direct talk and that critique that was very upfront. I was just like, oh, that's just how esports works. That's how people told me. I was like, wow, that's kind of hostile. Like they're not reacting very well to that feedback.
Yeah.
And so it's taken us a couple years to realize actually we have to kind of level up that conduct and that communication to, I'd say, world like mature standards of like, here's how you give and receive critical feedback.
One thing I was gonna say about that is I really wanted, so Korea already has an infrastructure of and the system of how to coach the team and the players, the rookies and stuff, right? And that's probably one of the reasons why they are always showing up in the World Series and like they're really doing well. I mean, partially it's also because they're trying hard as well, but I think there is some system and infrastructure that really kept producing those good results for them. And I don't know. I had never been in the Korean team, so I don't really know what the system is. But I think it has to do with some culture, something like that.
Yeah, and I'll also say for those unfamiliar with esports, coaches can be super young as well. You could be late teens, early 20s coaching your peers.
Like you in your early 20s.
Yes, just like I am right now. So I think they also are unprepared to deal with conflict. They may understand the game at a deep level, but they're also not ready to kind of level up the maturity of a team or have productive conversations. So at this time, if you're willing, we're going to show 3 clips from Youngbin's UCI career. We have some awesome tech behind the screen here. I won't talk too much about the clips before it because we're going to do some of the discussion of it afterwards, but I'll just mention this first one was from our 2018 championship run, our very first match. So we're pretty nervous. We've shown up our very first game against University of Ottawa, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And Youngbin's playing jungle. So notice that's one of the 5 roles, and we'll talk about why that's interesting. So go ahead.
Are playing it in a pretty much according
Oh,
to
this is
plan,
the
pretty much
Zach
how you would expect.
Oh,
It's
okay.
going to be a matter of execution. Can Otto actually find something?
Again, Latman trying to get jumped on, but
Yeah,
here comes the
played.
Zach to try and turn it back around. Bloodwater
Oh,
low.
the Zach is
Trying to put
launching.
still on the table.
Yeah.
There's Youngbin again. Finds the Q.
This is
Very
Q.
long range.
And there's a
Looks
delay.
like He's going to turn it back
We got
around.
6.
Still the flash. Oh, moves it back in. A beautiful
Yes, 6.
play from
Yes, all.
Youngbin. But the fight
Those
maybe still
casters
going.
casting
Psionics
this thing, describing all of this.
Playing
Probably that's why I'm
pretty
not a
much
caster.
according to
This is just replay.
Yeah. All right. So I'll kind of narrate it this time. So Young is the jungler. He's the green blob. This guy's going to come down. He's going to jump over the wall. And there's 0 kills right now, so this is a big play. What's really special? Well, I'll let Youngbin describe what's special. But anyways, it's an early game advantage that play gets us, and maybe you want to add on to what's going through your mind at that time.
I don't know if the people who's watching can hear it, but I think one of the caster was saying about this that if you notice right now I'm level 5, which means I don't have the ultimate. And
Which
then
you get at level 6.
yeah, which you get at level 6. And then once I jump in, can you pause right here? So if you see, I just turned level 6, right? And that happened because the minion is the small creatures around there.
Yeah.
The minion died as I was jumping in, and I got level 6, and then I ult back, which means I dragged them back with me, right? As I do right here.
Flash forward.
And one of the
cast,
and one of the caster was questioning about this play. That was Youngbin planning on this? Did he know that he was going to get level 6, wanted minion, so did he jump in? The answer is yes. I knew that my EXP was 1 minion away, and if you see my movement closely, the Zac, I turned a little bit back right there, just slightly back, because I didn't want to go further away from the minion so that I get EXP, and and that was one of the really hypest play in the, and then this was first game of the entire playoff tournament, and I think this really got us on a really good track.
Absolutely. So this played in a live studio in Santa Monica, and we had UCI fans there with signs and all this stuff. And our first kill of the tournament, so it got us off on a good first start. And our team also, I would say, was the late game scaling team, and so we just had to survive the game, and so this was us getting ahead. So anyways, that was a big moment for us. So let's go to number 2. I'll say Youngbin was kind enough to let us show this clip, but this was one of our most sad moments. We'll end on a high note, I promise you. But
I'm already getting PTSD
I know.
right now.
So I'll set this up. So we're up 2-1 in a 5-game series, and we are about to kill their Nexus. So we have been winning for 20-something minutes at this point. We're way ahead in the game. Youngbin's fed. And then do you want to talk about the pause that happened earlier? There's a very unique esports thing.
Yeah. So, I have to explain what the pause is too.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
So this is a game, right? It's a continuous game until you destroy the enemy nexus, right? There's no stopping. But there is a unique system called pause, where you can just raise your hand, or you can tell. Am I hearing this?
Yeah.
Hello.
Doesn't work.
There we go.
Okay. What was I?
Talking about pausing the game.
Oh yeah. So you can
raise your
request.
hand.
Yeah, you can request to the referee behind you that to pause the game, and that only is allowed when there's a glitch in the game or something is not right for you to play, and there is some kind of bug in the game, whatever that is. So, as you notice.
Sorry.
As you notice, my voice is okay. Never mind. Can you go back to the scene, the clip?
Not this one.
This is not the
Oh,
one.
sorry.
This is the first one. There you go. So, Thresh is the champion. Can you point it out, the Thresh mark? Yeah. Yeah, right there. That is the Thresh. It has the lantern and the hook. Yeah, right. And when the Thresh uses Q, he throws out the hook and then drags whatever gets hit by. And within like first 15 minutes, I've been complaining about how I was not able to see his animation clearly. Like 50% of his animation was already like cut off, like it was really staggy or some way. So
because of the skin.
yeah, because of the
Thresh,
skin,
yeah.
the skin, which is
The
you can change
cosmetic.
it. Yeah,
the
the
cosmetic
cosmetic
of the
of it.
champion.
So I requested to referee that there is something wrong about the game, so can we pause? But for the further note is that we were already like really ahead in the game. So we had a pause for like 30 minutes, and the rival was trying to figure out whether we can restart the game or what can they do about it. And the deal that they came up with is you can either restart the game from the scratch from level 1 or just continue with it. And obviously we were already so ahead in the game. I was like, it's really hard to give it up. So I said I would just deal with it, whatever. And this moment happened.
There we go. Now we're ready.
A bit of damage here. Looks like a few people need to heal, which gives more time outside. Final chapter comes out. Youngbin going very low. Great hit up. They are the same with the heals. The Zoomies.
So I'm playing the one on the bottom right there, running away for my life. And misses the Q.
The Zoomies save him again. And Bloodwater's coming
So
up.
Youngbin's playing AD carry, which is one of the main carry roles in this game.
Which gives more time outside.
So basically what happened is that at the end of the game, because this is a semi-final, and it was last game of the match, to get the last game. But at this stage, we were almost at their nexus, right? And Thresh Q lands on me, which was really huge for them, and we lost the team fight, and they got a lot of gold back from that simple play, and we pretty much lost the game. And this has haunted me for quite a months.
Did it have to do with that problem though?
Yeah, because as I said, he just uses it right there.
Yeah.
Right, but I wasn't able to see it, or I wasn't able to fully see it clearly.
And Youngbin has 2 dashes. One is his character is able to just blink and teleport. He also has a flash, which he doesn't use here. And Youngbin is a superstar player. Had he seen the hook coming, he would have flashed out of the way. This game would have ended shortly thereafter, and it would have been a whole different story.
Yeah.
So it was just an example of a tragic esports specific moment that was really impactful.
Yeah. Well, thank you for showing this again, Mark.
Youngbin suggested this clip. I did not propose it.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting.
I think this has a lot of story in it, and this hunted me for quite a while, but I'm over it now. So
we went to game 5. We ended up losing in game 5, and then we were out that year. So
So just to be clear, it haunted you because of that technical problem. It wasn't like, oh, I could have done something different. It
well, I mean, mainly because we just lost the series.
yeah, a game that felt very winnable. Like when you're in that situation, you should win 99% of the time.
Yeah.
When you're in that situation, I would say 99,
Yeah.
98.
And the enemy team found one in the millions.
Yeah. All right, so we'll do one last clip here. We're kind of running out of time. We do have an opportunity for Q&A after this. So if anyone wants to ask questions after this last clip, we'll be open for that. This last clip was from our very first year. This is UCI playing a team that was not really good enough to play against us early round of the tournament. This is really just an interesting one. This is Youngbin playing his 3rd different role for our team. So this does not happen in traditional esports very often. So he's playing mid lane here. Maybe you'll mention how hard that is or how rare that is to play 3 positions. But he's already ahead, and then it just looks like he just defeats the entire enemy team. So I'll let you talk about it after we play the clip.
This was the demonstration
Going
of
back
a
to that,
star player can
second tower of the
1v5
game.
Yeah.
Which was
the rest
totally
of the team from the
contradicting
side
to
of
what I
UC
was
Irvine
saying.
rotated down and started the Inferno
So our
Dragon.
team's down here getting the dragon, and
I'm
then
the champion right there.
Gotta be happy about that
so
one.
he blows up one.
Snowball
Wait.
the game as Youngbin goes
no.
really aggressive, blows up.
So now they're jumping on him.
It's
Looks
simple.
like he's about to
I don't
die.
see it deal damage or the command shock or the command protect just
Youngbin didn't dodging, skilling, using QE. Going in.
So again, it's pretty cool if we have the caster's voices. We can send clips if you want to hear the actual.
I mean, I watched this several times. That's why I was able to.
But essentially, he kills 3 champions, and they all kind of come after him, try to pile on him. But he's already ahead, so even though they have full health bars, he's doing more damage than they're ready for. And he dodges a lot of skill shots.
Yeah.
Which I think is harder than hitting skill shots is
Yeah.
avoiding them. So while you're trying to hit them with your stuff, you're also
It's even harder if you're trying to hit them while you're dodging.
yes. So he killed Israel there. So anyways, that was a little highlight moment. And again, University of Wyoming, who are playing here, not a top collegiate team, but this just shows what it looks like when star players play against people that are just way better than. So, all right, cool. So before we turn it over to Q&A for anybody who would like to ask questions, I do want to talk about playing 3 different roles. You came as a mid laner because that's what you played at Robert Morris University. That's what we needed. And then you went to Team Liquid and you played AD carry for them.
Well, in TLA, I played
Sorry.
mid lane.
You went
Yeah.
to Team Liquid after
Yeah.
playing mid lane for us.
Yeah.
You went to AD carry for them.
Yeah.
AD carries a bot lane role. It's a person who does attack damage, and they knock down the turrets. They knock down the structures.
I'm following. I'm
Okay,
following.
okay,
That's good. He said, like, he's all worried about me. It's like,
Yeah.
is your head? gonna
I saw
blow
it in
up?
your eyes. Like,
So he goes pro in that role. So he starts with mid lane for us, goes pro at AD carry. His next year, he chooses to come back to UCI and ends up graduating and playing multiple years playing AD carry for us. Sorry, no, you come back and play jungle for us.
Mhm.
Sorry, that's right.
that's the year we won. Yeah,
You come back, you play jungle, a role you'd never played competitively before.
that was my first.
Learns a
time.
new role. We win a national championship, and then his as he's hitting his senior years, he's like, you know what? I think I want to be a damage dealer, and that's what our team needs more.
Mhm.
And so he switched roles a third time
Mhm.
and did that. So tell us about that process and anything you want to share.
Well, first I will talk about just to get you updated. The first video I played, the green blob, was a jungle
Yes.
role, right? And the second video was me playing AD carry, attack damage carry, and the third video was me playing mid lane. So I'll first say why I role changed so much is because I didn't really have, I don't want to say ego, but I didn't really have a strict rule about what role I'm going to play, because my goal when I was joining the team is to find the best version of that team as possible, right? And if I see that there is a weaker role, then I will just fill that role and learn the role faster. And that's one of the reasons why I changed a lot of the roles throughout. And what was the question again?
That's a good
Yeah,
enough answer.
yeah,
that's
that
a
was
good
enough,
answer.
right?
Well, maybe just to touch on how rare is that for professional or high level
Oh.
players to do that swap?
I think it's because, well, maybe maybe the role change is one of the reasons why I didn't really have a successful career, but but the reason why it's really hard to change the role is because you have to learn a lot of different things to play that specific role, right? Because the champion that you'll be playing against will be different, and the way the perspective of the game will be different, and the technical stuff about the game will be different. It's like, I don't know how familiar you are with the basketball, but it'll be different as you're playing center or power forward or like shooting guard or point guard, right? It's pretty much similar like that. But the reason why I was able to role change a lot is because my the basic skill, like dribbling the ball, shooting the ball, or like, handling the ball, I was good at it. So I was able to just transit into different roles much more with comfort.
So just to be clear, for like a professional player, it's not unusual just to be in the same role for
Yeah,
the entire career. or
Yeah,
something like that.
throughout the history of competitive history, I think there has been nearly less than 10 that happened. Well, I don't know. It's really my guess.
That switch one time or switch
Yeah.
2 times?
Or one time.
Yeah.
Even one time.
Hmm.
Because it's just
Because
really
it's so
hard
like
to do.
special. It becomes very
Yeah, the
special.
information you have, the objectives of that role, it changes. And so if you're going to beat out all the other people trying to be really good at the game who are going to play 1,000 games of each role or that
Mhm.
role,
Sure.
you got to be the best.
Cool.
Cool.
We should probably let's.
Yeah,
do you
let's
wanna
wrap.
open
Why
it
don't
up
we
for some
clue- yeah.
questions?
Yeah, it's getting late right now.
Yes, sir. Welcome back.
Yeah, so
So I was actually at the 2018 final match.
Ooh.
I was on the UCI Esports journalism team at the time, and I got there late, so I didn't even know about the whole pause issue and the glitch.
oh, this is the year we lost.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. And so, when I joined the team, I saw the shiny trophy. I'm like, I can't wait to see 2 up there.
mhm.
And but so I did. It's funny that I only now found out about what happened. I knew I was really sad that we lost,
Mhm.
and gave James and someone else a ride to the dinner. So since you say you're beyond it now, you've moved past it. I'm
Did you wait
curious-
until this moment to talk
Yeah.
about
But
it?
I'm curious, as this, you could just simply answer it yes or no. Would be if you could do it all over again, would you have done the reset and made the
No,
skin?
I think I will stick with it.
Really respect that.
Mhm. I mean, as I said, we were really ahead. So
Well, right? What were the odds?
yeah.
And I mean, the team would be disappointed, right? Like
Yeah.
that would have been a psychic kind of blow to the team. To be
Yeah,
like, wait,
yeah.
we were winning the game.
Yeah.
You were doing fine. Yeah.
I think if we rewind the time, I think I would still say no, because exact reason what you said. Like if I say let's restart, then we were really ahead in the game, and my teammates, I don't know how they will be perceiving that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we would have a good chance in that series if I said yes. Anyway,
And of the three roles you played, which was your favorite?
AD carry, even though I didn't really achieve anything as it, but I really enjoyed playing AD carry. And probably that's one of the reasons why I was trying to play AD carry.
So my question is about, so in esports, we're seeing a lot of different kinds of activism occurring, whether like the Chung controversy about the streamers and the players kind of talking about whether Hong Kong should be a free state in situations in that. And you also see this in other traditional sports as well. And in the Korean context, there was the GC Busan at Korean Apex in 2019 was actually protesting Japan. So I guess my question to you is, do you see a lot of activism and activists happening in North American esports?
Wow, he really threw a really tough question at me. But I would say that I respect all the people who really do like activism, right? They really they have faith in it, and they really truly believe that, and that's why they are protesting for it, right? The problem with me is that I'm really ignorant when it comes down to that kind of stuff, like because I'm not pro or con against anything. Like I'm like I when I hear some kind of activism, then oh yeah, that has a really good cause. That or oh that doesn't really I don't really resonate with that, right? So to answer your question, I really don't know, because I'm not interested in that.
Well, let's go in the back. Who we got back there? Oh, Ethan.
So, in your opinion, what is the easiest role in League of Legends?
Support the role that you're playing.
That's Ethan Song, our support player for our varsity team, who hit rank 1 in North America.
I thought of.
Yeah. Recently.
Good job.
Very difficult role. Yeah. Let's go over here, and then we'll come back to you, Michael.
It's kind of, I'm not a gamer,
Mhm.
but I'm just curious, like the work-life balance, or, you talk about professional sport, like the traditional NBA, they work hard, right? And I know when I started hearing about esports and the professional players, I remember hearing like they hardly slept and they're training just around the clock. So how do you find that that's changed any over the years? And how did you manage that?
And how does that compare to, how does pro compare to collegiate too?
Yeah, well, to answer your question, I didn't manage it. I didn't manage it. I think there is a really funny story that I can told you about this. When I was in TLA, and all the members were trying their best to become to make it to the big league, right? And what we did was we barely slept, and what we did is we had the chair like this, right, in the house. And we would play until like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and we get really tired of it, right? But back then, the queue time to get into the game was really long. It was like 30, 40 minutes. So what we did was we just did this, just sleep on it with our headset on. And then when the queue pops, then it makes this weird sound where it will wake us up. And we'll just constantly play. So the key is,
leave your chair.
Yeah, the key is not to balance it.
Yeah.
If you want to become pro, because everyone else is playing like that, the only way for you to make it is to sleep less or make more time than the people who are giving their effort to it. So I would say, even though I was kind of joking about not managing it, but there's no work-life balance, I think.
Just since some people might be concerned for our athletes, how much are they playing, or what are the team obligations here? Are they sleeping here overnight?
Okay, so the story that I was saying was professional.
Yes,
professional. So for the UCI, I mean, they have physical trainers, and the players have to attend. So they are working out. And also they have responsibility as a student as well. So they have to attend the school, and then you have to maintain certain GPA. I think it's 2.0 or something to be on a team. So I think UCI is really doing a good job to cater the students' health life balance, because students are really not that great at it.
So our team probably plays 3, maybe 4 practices a week, and then they'll play on their own. They'll have some other team obligations, but we're looking at like 12 or 15 hours per week as opposed to 12 hours a day at least.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a seventh of what the pro players do. Yes, Michael.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hi, Michael Shane. So it sounds like you got poached from Robert Morris University. How did we lure you away?
Did I poach? Oh, to get here? No, it was nothing like that, because I was already in Team Liquid Academy when UCI was launching their program. And in TLA, I think it was my 3rd year in TLA, Team Liquid Academy, when UCI was launching around it. And I was really getting burned out with all the sleeping on my chair kind of stuff, So I was looking for a different option, and I was hitting that age where I was like concerned about my future, that I've been trying hard to make it to the big league, but for several years, but nothing was really getting there. So and that's when I heard about UCI, and actually it was me talking to Mark about it, and then I was like, I heard that you guys are doing it, can we work something with it? And that's how I got it. So no poaching.
No poaching. We don't believe in that. I will say he played for Robert Morris University the very first year that college esports ever existed. We played on the very first varsity team, playing mid lane for them. And when he heard about it, their director, Kurt Melcher, who's the godfather of college esports, he called and he's like, I have an athlete I'd like to introduce you to. So that's how the conversation started.
Yeah, apologies, that was tongue in cheek.
It's all good. No.
I'm
Fair
in sales
question.
now, so it's
Yeah.
poaching happens.
And poaching happens in collegiate too, so it's a fair question. Yeah.
When you invade the other team's jungle.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there has been a lot of colleges that when I was in UCI, I was trying to poach.
Yeah.
Me, so
Yeah.
does
Not
exist.
okay with that.
Does exist.
All right. So if there's any more questions, we got time for one more question. We'll go over here.
Hey. Oh, thank you. Oh, what? You guys are here? They're my friends, by the way.
Are there any games besides League you're playing right now, or that you're really into?
See, if I was able to not play any game at all, then I'll be enjoying my life. And but I have an agent now because I'm an actor. And agent and I am talking about what to do in the future with all the things that's going to happen within a few months, and that's why I'm just playing League mainly. I haven't really been playing anything. I'm so good to see you guys, by the way.
Are you looking for a duo?
Not with you. Not with you. Next question. Thank you.
I can tell you hasn't learned to dodge thresh hooks based on watching today. Yeah.
It's just funny that when I was at the Game Developers Conference a few years ago, Riot used to have booths and you could play League while you're waiting to talk to someone.
Okay.
And I throw this thresh hook right between 2 minions and get an enemy champion. And some random dude says, "Nice hook." I look over, it's Trindamere.
Oh,
AKA,
cool.
Mark Merrill.
Yeah.
Co-founders. And I'm just like trying to focus on the game while like co-founder of Riot is telling me I just threw a great hook. Like,
Congratulations.
I never met him. I kind of want to meet him too.
I've met him.
Can you? No, I was gonna talk to the Trinidad in the camera.
Okay. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah. So I'm sorry we're at the end of our time. This has been really, really great and amazing. We do have some refreshments right afterwards. I think we have some
boba.
So thank you all for coming, and if you could join me in thanking our guest Youngbin with a
legend.
Thank you.
Oh, and there's the still from players. So.
Yeah.
So please join us for refreshments.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and thank you to everyone who helped make this happen.
Thank you. This is what